We've just seen that successful launch of Perseverance. Tell us more about what happens at the launch and what we're expecting to see.
Yeah, so as you have seen, liftoff went okay. It's now in Earth orbit. It will basically go to the other side of the Earth, and then there will be another boost to take it out of the Earth's orbit on its way to Mars. And that's when they will check the systems, that the spacecraft is in good conditions. So far, the rocket has been extremely accurate, which is very important because there are many points at which a mission like this can fail. For instance, the rocket can go in the wrong orbit around the Earth. It can go in the wrong direction in the solar system. And then in February, of course, it becomes very critical because it has to go into orbit around Mars and then land on Mars.
And tell us
in between that time, it will go through the solar system, and hopefully there won't be a major solar flare that will expose the system to a very high dose of radiation.
And we do hope it goes to the right place. As you said, lots of things can go wrong. And the NASA scientists they're calling the landing 7 minutes of terror. Why is the actual landing so challenging?
Yeah, so now how do you want to land at high speed on a hard surface? So you might think of a parachute, and that works well if there's a lot of air, but Mars has a very thin atmosphere, so it's not so effective. So you need some rockets to slow you down when you're getting close to the surface. Now, in fact, in this mission, NASA is going to try out some more sophisticated technology to time the deployment of the parachutes, and also to be more accurate in choosing the sites to touch down. The final bit, it's basically hovering above the surface and touching down slowly. They call it a sky crane. And if you land on the moon, it's much easier because the gravity is very low. So you don't need a lot of rocket power to just slow down. Just like the SpaceX rockets, for instance, have been returned to Earth sort of in reverse. If you land on the Earth, it's easy because you've got a thick atmosphere, so you can use parachutes, no problem.
And tell us exactly where Perseverance will be landing, because I understand it's the floor of Mars's Jacco crater, which was actually home to a lake and a river billions of years ago. That's fascinating.
Yes, at the moment, Mars is pretty much a desert, but there's a lot of evidence of sediment, so clay deposited by flow of probably water in the distant past. And so this rover is going to land in such a place. The Jacco crater has been a lake in the past, and there's a thick layer of clay in which it could look for fossils, for instance. It's not going to find them now because it has a lot of instruments that can detect the mineralogical composition, for instance, but only on sort of centimeter scales. But it's going to prepare some of the samples, so dig and then put them in tubes of titanium, ready for another mission to come later to pick them up, bring them to the Earth, and then we can analyze them in the laboratory under microscopes and with chemical experiments, etc., and see if indeed there was life on Mars. If there had been life on Mars, then the Jacco crater is one of the best places to find it.
And very quickly, yes or no, do you think there was life on Mars?
It's very well possible because life on the Earth started so early, and at that time Mars was much more like the Earth. It had a thicker atmosphere, it had flowing water on the surface, and so it's actually more difficult to understand why it wouldn't have happened on Mars in that time.
Fascinating. Dr. Jacco van Loon, astrophysicist, joining us from the UK in Keele University. Thank you so much for that.